Hey, what's going on there, people? My name is Matt and welcome back to my travel vlog, and in this week we're going to Copenhagen. We're actually leaving from a train from Gothenburg, and it was a very pleasant ride and only a couple of days before Christmas, so really the right season to visit Copenhagen. Now, one thing you have to realize is Copenhagen is a Nordic country, which means it's very nice, very futuristic, and very expensive. Because of this, we had to stay in an Airbnb that was quite far out of the city. It was a little bit annoying to make the about hour-long trek into the city, but it was also kind of cool to see more of a suburban local life outside of the city center. The first impressions of Copenhagen is you are stepping into the future. Everything is nice there. Their public transportation is amazing. Everyone seems to have Teslas. They're wearing fur coats. They're very fashionable. And the architecture is just phenomenal. If I had to compare it to something else, I feel like it's like a Nordic Amsterdam. And I know Amsterdam is known for its bikes, but trust me, Copenhagen has even more bikes. It has the same style of housing, the canals all over, and they're also red light district and weed friendly. I didn't actually have the opportunity on this trip, but in any city that's bike friendly, the best way to see it is usually on bikes, so I totally recommend that you go and rent a bike. Look at all those bikes. I have a theory that you can really judge a city based on its parks, and King's Garden is one that you don't want to miss, and it really speaks to the quality of Copenhagen. It's a beautiful garden and somewhere where you could spend hours with a book and just relax. Hot dogs were actually the staple street food in Copenhagen. I have no idea why, but Copenhagen has a particular style of hot dogs. They're not exactly cheap from the street vendors, but you must stop in and get one.
Over there's Christiania, that's over on the other side, so we're a bit away from it.
And what makes it special?
Certain drugs are legal, so.
Now, Christiania was a part of town when I heard about, I knew I could not miss it, and this is one I definitely recommend you check out. It's a really hip, cool part of town where you imagine all the hipsters and stuff live. There's street art everywhere, and this is actually a place that has open-air bazaar for marijuana. And they also had the most kick-ass Christmas market in the city. Definitely worth checking out if you're there close to Christmas time. Now, this is a little bit of a random recommendation, but I totally recommend you check out Seashell Broken Bridge. Totally butchered that, I'm sorry, but it really speaks to the infrastructure in Copenhagen. It's just so nice having a walking path slash bike path right across the channel, and it's just, the quality of it is amazing, and really crossing it and being around that area, that was my favorite part of town for sure. The next day we went on the Carlsberg Brewery beer tour, and this is a very historic brewery, and if you're like myself, I'm from Chicago, we have tons of breweries. It's really cool to see how they do it on the other side of the pond, and definitely worth checking out if you enjoy beer and just kind of want to see a historic brewery. They also have the world's largest beer bottle collection, which is, I thought was pretty cool. It's just gonna hurt.
don't know shit about London.
I definitely encourage you to wander around the city, get lost, because at night we stumbled upon the Skydenbenhaven, which I definitely butchered again, I'm sorry. But basically it was this children's playground surrounded by a castle, like actual castle walls just randomly in the city. It was dark, so I don't have much good footage and I apologize for that. But you definitely have to just get out there, and this is something you would never really look up and know to go to unless some local recommended it to you. So get out there and just explore the city, because it's great to hit the points, but at some points you just want to be able to walk around and just discover what the city's all about, and this was a great example of that. I don't recommend restaurants too often in these travel vlogs, but one that really stood out to me was Mad Glad, and this was a vegan-friendly all-you-can-eat restaurant. It sounds really random, but the way that this place is run feels totally local, totally authentic. You go in there, pay a certain amount of money, they can give you chicken or some sort of, you know, vegan option, and then it's all you can eat from all of these really cool and different entrees. Just serve yourself. My absolute favorite memory from Copenhagen, and something that I will never forget, is going on the pier right by the Royal Danish Playhouse. We actually wandered over there just to check out what the architecture was like. They had some fancy event going on there, but if you keep walking past, basically you're overlooking the entire city. They have the fancy opera house in the distance I took photos of. There's like a factory and all the lights are glistening off of the water, and it's just magical. Even in winter with the cold wind coming through, it's a place that you could just really hang out at for hours. I believe it's called the Ophelia Pads are in that vicinity, but I'm not 100% positive. The architecture was really a prime example of what Copenhagen is all about, because they had these houses. It was just basically a small room. It was really like a living room slash kitchen, but we realized there was these circle glass things in the ground, and the actual home was in the pier below the ground. And they had these underground parking garage connected to it. It really was mind-blowing, and that's really what my experience encapsulated. If I had to describe it and show you in 5 minutes, it would be this, because it was really something special getting to experience that. I mean, that's literally, it feels like the future, and there's something like extremely cool about it and different, something that I've never seen in my entire life. Now the red light district, unlike Amsterdam, I don't think is really worth checking out. It just kind of seems like a little weird part of town. Unless you're going there for a very specific purpose, I just really don't see the point too much. It's not a big attraction like it is in Amsterdam. I mean, it's cool if you want to see that, and I know I sure did, but it's not as big of a deal as it is in Amsterdam, I'll say it that way. And my biggest complaint about Copenhagen was actually the transit system. And this is surprising because it is really a nice transit system, but my God, it was so stupid for tourists. It made me infuriated. Pretty much you had to pay 28 euros just to get this card, and the card, it was almost like you had to pay 15 euros just to get the card, really, because you would be able to spend 14 euros, and then even though you had money on the card, it would run out, because if you take the transit system from one line to the other, it'd be a little bit more than 14 euros or whatever. We ended up just trying our best to avoid the fares, and they really are strict with that. They have people going around checking tickets all the time. I mean, the transit system felt like Nazi Germany to me, really. I don't know, I'm sorry like if that's a little extreme, but it was bad. And one other note I will say is I would love to experience Copenhagen in the summer, because Nordic summers, the summer is a little bit tiny and whatnot, but going in December to any of these cities, it's a different experience, and you get that kind of warm winter feeling, but you're dodging from place to place trying to stay warm, whereas in summer everyone's out, there's festivals, there's food, so I really would be at a different experience, and I know I need to go back to Copenhagen, so it's definitely on my list to return to. But all in all, I had a great time there. It's something I'll never forget, and it gives you a different spin on how you view your own society, and honestly I think that's extremely beneficial. So anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, remember to like the video, subscribe, and if you're out there and you want me to make travel vlogs, I actually just booked another trip to Europe. I'm not sure if I'm going to focus in on my photography or continue to do these travel vlogs. Let me know and I'll definitely consider it. But until then, I've got one more travel vlog for you guys, Iceland, and I hope you enjoy. And thanks for being patient with me. I'll see ya.